아이고. What the f?
Oi! Konnichiwa!
I'm not gonna hurt you.
Stick cracking around us. Now I'm just freaking out.
Scratch this field.
In September 2024, a content creator named Megan uploaded a deeply unsettling account in a video titled, "I Was Attacked in the Woods by a Man," published on her YouTube channel, Megan Page. Known primarily for sharing everyday lifestyle content, such as travel diaries and personal updates from around the United States, this upload immediately stood apart because of its disturbing subject matter. Megan had set out on a solo camping trip to a wooded region of Humboldt County, California. The goal was simple: step away from daily stress and spend some quiet, restorative time alone in nature. At the beginning of the video, Megan appears calm and conversational, casually addressing her viewers while enjoying the forest setting. Nothing seems out of the ordinary at first, until the mood abruptly changes. Only minutes after getting settled, she begins to hear footsteps moving toward her from an unseen location. What followed quickly escalated into a tense and alarming encounter with an unknown individual deep in the woods.
When I got home from the psychiatric facility, there were cockroaches in my bed. Can you believe that? So that's why I'm in Humboldt. That's why I'm back in Humboldt. I'm staying at my dad's again, and then I come to the woods for like 4 hours and decompress. And then I go back home, and then he acts like nothing happens. Like a true narcissist. Like the true narcissist here.
I'm not gonna hurt you.
Okay, well, you scared me.
Oh, thanks. Okay. Scared to get to walk by and eat the scared.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Work pretty hard. Don't worry.
Okay, I'm
You're
sorry.
probably more dangerous than me. You're probably more evil than me. You're bomb. Little stoner.
Okay, that was terrifying. What the f? I'm shaking. That was scary. It's coming right at me. And so obviously I'm gonna be scared. And then he's like, "You're probably more scary than me. Your dark hair and your veins."
Without warning, a man appeared, holding what looked like a broken glass bottle. Recognizing the potential danger, Megan immediately started to retreat while continuing to record. Although the man attempted to downplay the situation and insisted he meant no harm, the combination of his sudden presence, unpredictable demeanor, and the object in his hand raised serious concern. Megan decided not to risk staying. She packed up her belongings and moved away, maintaining distance as she filmed. The man tried multiple times to keep her engaged, but she did not stop. Thankfully, he did not follow her, and Megan managed to leave the area safely without further escalation. While his true intentions remain unknown, approaching someone alone in the forest while holding a broken bottle strongly suggests the potential for danger. It's possible that realizing he was being recorded altered his behavior, with the camera acting as a deterrent. Would the situation have ended differently if Megan hadn't been filming? Or was this simply a terrifying misinterpretation in a remote place? Either way, the incident highlights just how exposed solo travelers can be, even during daylight hours. In June 2021, a deeply unsettling video was shared by a YouTube creator named Corey on his channel, The Abandoned Boys. Best known for urban exploration content, Corey regularly documents visits to abandoned and ominous locations throughout the United States, often finding himself in situations that quickly turn uncomfortable or disturbing. In this upload, Corey chose to explore a remote wooded area near Martinsville, Virginia. The forest has a long-standing reputation among locals, who claim it has been linked to satanic rituals and lingering paranormal activity, with rumors suggesting it is still used for occult gatherings after dark. Despite the reputation, Corey decided to investigate the area on his own venturing into the forest late at night. As the exploration progressed, Corey moved deeper into the trees, attempting to locate the rumored ritual site. Before long, unusual noises began to echo from the surrounding woods.
That's some dangerous backwoods. Don't too much know the story about it out here, but heard a lot of stuff goes on out here. So I'm here tonight to check it out. Come with me on this journey. Much love, much respect. Let's get it. Kind of far in, hiked in kind of far. Hopefully it all goes well, but definitely creepy. That's what we're working with tonight. Hearing some. You hear that?
The sounds were hard to place, but carried an eerie quality, resembling something similar to a cat crying in the distance.
Whoa. What the Y'all hear that?
Curious but increasingly alert, Corey continued forward. With each step closer to the source of the noise, the tension in the environment intensified. It was at this point that the situation took a sudden and frightening turn.
What the hell is that? What's that? What the Y'all seeing this? Y'all see this? What the hell is that? Hey, what's going on? Shit. Scratch this film.
During filming, Corey unexpectedly came across a small group of figures dressed entirely in black, seemingly engaged in some form of ritual activity. One individual noticed him almost immediately and, without hesitation, produced a weapon and began advancing in his direction. Corey attempted to react, but there was no visible response from the group. The figure continued moving closer in silence. Realizing the seriousness of the situation, Corey slowly retreated before turning and fleeing the forest, managing to escape without being harmed. What the group intended remains uncertain. They may have felt threatened by an unexpected intruder, or they may have been deliberately attempting to intimidate anyone who wandered too close. Still, the presence of a weapon suggests they were prepared for confrontation. Was Corey simply unlucky that night, or did he interrupt something far more dangerous than expected? Regardless, the footage remains one of the most disturbing encounters ever captured deep in the woods. In 2021, YouTube creator Matt Field released a tense and unsettling video capturing a night he spent completely alone inside a remote cave in the Australian wilderness. The challenge stemmed from a story shared by a friend who had experienced something disturbing at that same location and dared Matt to see if he could endure the night by himself. Unlike typical outdoor creators, Matt is known for pushing isolation and survival to extremes. His content often shows him vanishing off-grid for days at a time, surviving only on fishing and hunting. For this trip, he raised the stakes even higher by entering the cave without carrying any drinking water, expecting to locate a natural water source somewhere inside. After nearly 4 hours of hiking through harsh, empty terrain, Matt finally arrived at the cave. He climbed down using a fixed ladder and began navigating the tight tunnels and narrow passages below. Initially, the situation felt under control. But as night settled in, unsettling events began to unfold.
That is beautiful. Baked beans in a haunted cave. Oh my fucking God. That was the sound. That is the sound. Did you hear that? Look at my arms. I got full goosebumps. It's the chains moving when I climb down the ladder. It's a big, heavy, thick chain. Wind can't move that. Holy shit.
He soon heard rocks shifting near the cave entrance, followed by sounds that resembled footsteps, or possibly an animal moving through the space. As time went on, Matt admitted to feeling increasingly uneasy, as though something was watching him from the darkness.
That chain moved just then. It is 100% now. I heard it before. I'm 100% certain it's the chain that I walked in, that you climbed down into this cave on. It's moving. Now, you can't move that chain with wind. It's way too heavy. There is no wind coming in here. There's no wind even Holy shit. Oh my fucking God. Look. You must have heard that just then. Look at my arms, dude. Oh, this is fucked. It's not normal. It's definitely not a normal sound, and I'm scared shitless. I'm not gonna lie. That sound, it was not normal. It's probably about 2 hours, 2.5 hours after I checked in with you guys, so it would be around 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning, and that sound was not normal. I'm getting out of here.
Just before 11 p.m., while eating dinner, the situation escalated. Matt heard a metallic clanking sound. When he checked, he noticed the heavy metal chain he had used to descend into the cave was moving. There was no wind, and it seemed highly unlikely that air alone could cause such a heavy object to shift. Clearly shaken, Matt considered packing up and leaving. For a short time, he chose to remain closer to the cave entrance instead of exploring further inside. However, between 1 and 2 a.m., he heard another disturbing sound, hissing noises that eerily resembled whispered voices. Despite scanning the area with his flashlight, he couldn't identify where the sounds were coming from. There is no definitive explanation for the moving chain or the strange noises. One possibility is the presence of large animals, or perhaps an unseen squatter living deeper within the cave. The thought of encountering someone, or something, living entirely underground adds a psychological intensity to the fear Matt experienced. If it were another person, the threat could have been far more serious than any wildlife encounter. So why did the chain move with no wind? And what caused those whisper-like sounds in the dark? Whether the explanation was natural, paranormal, or something far more unsettling, Matt never returned to that cave again. And after watching the footage, it's easy to understand why. Johnny, the creator of the YouTube channel, Johnny Paranormal, ventured into Japan's Aokigahara Forest, often referred to as the Sea of Trees, a place known for its tragic past. While filming deep within the forest, where abandoned personal items are sometimes discovered, he noticed movement and decided to investigate.
G'day, mate. How are ya? Konnichiwa. Buddy. Buddy. Oi. Konnichiwa. Where are you going? He's up in there. Oi!
I'm gonna come after you. You might as well stop running, mate. Oh, there you go. That's him. He just took off. Running.
He soon came across a man who immediately fled without looking back, vanishing into the trees as if he perceived Johnny as a threat. Believing that people, rather than wildlife, often pose the greatest danger in remote wilderness, Johnny moved in the direction the man had run.
You're not gonna believe this. I've just found another hanging. Are you kidding me? Well, look at the good thing, it's another body I can get home. Right through these trees, right in front of me, 50 meters. I don't know where old mate's gone, but someone's hanged themselves 50 meters in front of me.
Instead, he came upon a hanging body nearby, reinforcing the forest's grim reputation. The man's sudden escape raises unsettling questions about why he was there, and what he may have been doing, and whether his presence was mere coincidence or connected to what Johnny found, leaving viewers to wonder how many unseen and unresolved stories are unfolding in Aokigahara at the same time. Paul, the creator behind the channel. Paul in a Pack is an experienced hiker who recorded his 149-day trek along the Pacific Crest Trail. Early in the journey, while moving past a volcanic rock area, he spotted something off the trail that first appeared to be trash, or possibly a sleeping bag. Curious and worried that someone might need assistance, he moved closer to investigate.
So I've just come from this direction, walking down this trail here, and to the side of me is this big volcanic feature. I'm going to guess it's either a sill or a dike. I can't remember the difference between them. But just through here on some of the rocks, there seems to be a big pile of, it kind of looks like trash, but it also looks like it could be a sleeping bag, and I can't see anyone there. It's just a little bit strange, so I'm just going to have a wander in and make sure that there's nothing nasty going on. Hello? Oh my goodness me. Oh no. Oh no. I'm not sure if I've just found a body or not.
Instead, he found human remains scattered near a tent, along with a backpack, trekking poles, and other equipment typical of a long-distance hiker. As he prepared to leave the area to report what he had found, he noticed a skull nearby, confirming the reality of the situation. Other hikers soon arrived and helped him contact authorities, who responded shortly afterward.
Well, that was something I didn't expect at all. I've heard of it happening a couple of times on the trail this year so far, but I didn't think it would happen to me. I've just found somebody's remains at the side of the trail. And when I say the side of the trail, kind of like off that side of the trail, maybe 50 feet or so. I thought it was a pile of trash to start with, and I thought I would just go and investigate. When I got closer to it, it became obvious that it was the remains of a hiker. There was a backpack there, a sun umbrella, some trekking poles, and then I spotted the leg bones completely stripped. The tent was there, you know, all the sort of stuff you would associate with a through hiker or a long section hiker. And then when I turned around to leave the scene to get back to the trail to figure out what to do, that's when I spotted the skull, and that just obviously confirmed everything. There was a couple behind me, Adam and Jennifer, thank goodness. They helped me out, and Adam called 911. He had a little bit of service, and there's some deputies coming out to meet us.
The discovery was deeply disturbing, not only because of its seriousness, but because the remains were located relatively close to the main trail and seemed to have been there for a long time without being noticed. Out of respect, Paul chose not to film the scene, hoping the discovery might bring answers to a waiting family, leaving one haunting question behind. How could someone vanish so close to a heavily traveled trail without anyone noticing for so long? On October 25th, 2022, Kevin from the YouTube channel Small Plots and a friend camped for one night in a quiet area of a state forest in upstate New York. The evening began calmly with dinner by the fire, but once night fell, the atmosphere changed.
What was that?
That was very strange.
I know we've been joking around, but what was that?
While sitting at the campsite, they heard an unusual sound carrying through the trees, repeating several times and shifting from something vaguely human to a sharp, high-pitched hooting, unlike any animal they recognized.
It had to have been a person, right?
It sounded like a person at first, but then the hooting of it sounded like a crazy bird. I don't know.
I've never heard that in the woods. It was like...
But really high pitched.
Yeah, it sounded like a monkey.
Yeah.
It sounded like a monkey or something.
I thought it was like a woman hooting, and then a hoo, hoo, hoo. Like a...
Should we respond? What was that?
Totally ruined my pizza log.
I've never heard that in the woods. Ever. That sounded like a monkey. And it wasn't far. That was close. That was a close by thing. What was that? I just want to keep rolling in case it happens again. That was chilling. I don't know what that was. It sounded like a person. I've never heard an animal around here make that sound. That had to have been a person.
Despite their familiarity with wildlife, neither could identify it, and the sound felt uncomfortably close.
I have a chill down my spine. I don't know what is happening.
I keep hearing things.
Yeah.
Not that same thing, but creepy.
Like things around us. Anytime we like kind of lose focus on what's around us and get into a conversation, we start hearing things like walking towards us again.
As they checked the area, Kevin noticed scattered trash near the campsite, suggesting someone had been there recently, or could still be nearby.
And now I just hear things like stick cracking around us. Now I'm just freaking out. Now I'm just nervous. Luna, are you nervous? She doesn't seem too nervous. She seems okay, which is, I guess, a good sign. Or not, because she didn't see the hunter standing next to us earlier. Yeah, we had like half of a conversation with that hunter before she realized he was there and then started freaking out. So you're not exactly a litmus test on what's going on around us, I guess.
Subtle noises continued throughout the night, including snapping sticks and movement whenever their attention drifted, keeping them tense until morning. Nothing ever showed itself, but the sound lingered in their minds, leaving one unanswered question behind. Was it an unknown animal, another person in the woods, or someone watching them from the darkness? The creator behind Pandemonium travels across the US in her RV with her dog, Moo, often selecting quiet campsites that feel secure for the night. During one stop, that sense of calm was broken after midnight when loud, aggressive screaming echoed through the campground.
So not sure if y'all can hear, but I'm not sure if he's drunk or he's just mentally unwell. But there's a guy just walking through base camp cussing. I mean, like, severely cussing. You probably can hear him. He's also kind of not making any sense. It's kind of freaky, weird, and creepy. Yeah, did you hear that crazy guy screaming?
Do you have your camera?
Huh?
Do you have your camera?
I do.
You're so funny.
I caught him earlier. He was just, he started, well, I didn't really I got him screaming because he started on that end over where the guys were.
Right.
And then he made his way over here and he was like, he sat down and he was screaming, cussing, and then I was like, I don't know if he's...
Right at the bottom.
What?
He's where?
From my van.
Oh, he is?
towards the river.
Oh.
Right next to your van or before those roads were... Okay.
Someone was moving between campsites, yelling at profanities and speaking incoherently, leaving campers unsure whether it was intoxication, mental distress, or a genuine threat. Other campers were awake and alert, following the sounds as they moved closer to vehicles, until police were eventually called to address the situation.
First of all, thank you for calling us. We appreciate it. She's gonna be leaving there shortly. She's gonna be returning to her campsite for the evening.
Oh, that's a woman?
Yes.
Oh.
I have no idea.
Like guy. No, well, there was a male subject that was down there with her. Yeah, I guess he left. He's driving a white Jeep. He went into town. So we're going to see if we can't find him.
That's not true.
No,
that's not true. She's been here by herself the whole time.
Okay.
Screaming at somebody that wasn't there.
Right. She has a history of drug use.
Lord.
She is a local from the area, but she does state that they are camping down the river a little ways. She plans on returning to that campsite here shortly. I let her know that if there's any more outbursts, any more screaming noises, whatever like that, we'll come back out and then she'll be transported and be living with us. So. As it sits right now, we're going to go try to find him, make sure he's okay.
Although no one was injured and the incident ultimately de-escalated, the unease remained once the campground fell silent again, raising a direct question. When you're alone in the dark with nowhere to go, how quickly can a safe campsite turn into a trap? The Cat Lady van was camping in a secluded spot on Vancouver Island, British Columbia, after a long day of severe weather. Around midnight, she was jolted awake by heavy banging against the outside of her van, unable to tell whether it was done by hand or with an object.
Alright guys, that's someone banging on my van pretty loud. I'm not sure if he did any damage, to be quite honest. I don't know if he banged with a piece of wood. He banged on another van too. I'm gonna move.
It soon became apparent she wasn't the only target, as another nearby van had also been hit. By morning, she discovered a deep dent along the side of her vehicle, confirming how forceful the impact had been.
Beautiful damage on my van. I knew when he banged on my van, it would sound pretty loud. I thought I was in the back, that's why I was looking in the back there. And I didn't know if he had a stick, that's why I saw on my video. But I think he probably had a rock and when he banged on my van, because yeah, this looked like quite a big dent. Unfortunately, I'm kind of pissed, to be honest, guys.
Shaken by the damage and the uncertainty surrounding who was responsible, she decided to relocate to a safer area, relieved that both she and her cat were unharmed. After 7 years of traveling this way, it was the first time she genuinely felt threatened, leaving one unsettling question behind. Who was attacking vans in the darkness, and why that campsite? That's it for tonight. Which moment creeped you out the most? Drop it in the comments. Have your own story? Share it with us, and stay tuned. The next one is even darker.